Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hopefully everyone's good out there. You already know, Looper Norris here, back with another episode, going over the most recent rap albums of 2023, 2024. I got a new album to react to, but before I continue with this episode here, I'm gonna go over some of the music that I have coming up. So the new song Waldo, that's set for December 4th. I got another song to drop for December 14th, but I'm gonna talk more about that once we get to Waldo for December 4th. And at the same time, I'm going to talk more about the new album that I'm currently working on right now. I'll talk more about this one once I drop Waldo. This album will be available for next year, closer to the summertime. It's 10 tracks for it. Subscribe to the channel, more content and more music on the way. Like the video, it'll help out in terms of the algorithm. Today we're going to do the new album by Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal, Atake 2. This is a brand new album he dropped for November 1st, so this one is fresh, very new. So just like every other episode, I'm gonna play 4 songs off of the album, just a snippet of it, give you guys an idea of how it sounds like. It'll make it easier for me to give you guys my critique and my reasoning behind everything I say about the album. I'm gonna conclude the video with a rating at the end of the video out of 10. So we're gonna get right into this one. Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal, Atake 2. All the songs that I'm gonna play, this is all off of Lil Uzi Vert's SoundCloud account. The first track I'll play, this song is called Not an Option. This one's called Chips and Dip. This one's Perky Sex. The last track I'll play, this one's called Space High. Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal, Atake 2, a new album by Lil Uzi Vert, Philadelphia rapper. This is the same rapper made SoundCloud popular, I'm pretty sure. That's how I found out about Lil Uzi Vert. He sort of came out of nowhere, maybe like 15 years back. I remember first hearing one of his songs off a Mixtape. He's one of the first rappers that I've witnessed get like face tattoos. That's the one thing that I remember from Lil Uzi Vert, and also blowing up on SoundCloud, because when SoundCloud started, there wasn't a lot of rappers that were going crazy on it. The only rappers that were going crazy on it were the rappers that were already established with a record label. They found out about SoundCloud, so they put their music on SoundCloud, and it's almost like an advertisement to help them sell records. There was a few rappers that nobody knew about that used SoundCloud as a way to propel their career. Lil Uzi Vert was one of those rappers that blew up on SoundCloud, took the whole name SoundCloud rapper to new heights, as it turned sort of into like a genre in a sense. The name of the genre sort of changed over time. Mumble rap, that's another way to explain it. So yeah, he's like the first rapper to start all of that. And then you see a bunch of new rappers out of nowhere throwing little in front of their names, just like Lil Uzi Vert, and now you got like a little this guy, little this, little that, little that. So I feel like Lil Uzi Vert was one of the first littles to do all that, and 15 years later you see him now one of the biggest rappers in the world, going on like crazy world tours, selling tickets for all of his shows, borderline pop star. Back then he was mainly a rapper, but now with all the fame he's generated, he's more of like a pop star now. Lil Uzi Vert's very famous for his like popish style, making a lot of like catchy sounding songs, more so than like straight up rap songs. His fascination with anime, he has like a lot of anime going on with his style in terms of like how he like carries himself, his like clothing style, a lot of anime influence, definitely. You can sort of hear it in his music too, and his music videos. He'll use a lot of like anime style graphics when it comes to like his album covers. I'll be completely honest, when it comes to Lil Uzi Vert, I always thought he was overrated. The thing with Lil Uzi Vert, I think he does have lyrical talent and he does have a great understanding on how to make music. He really knows how to use autotune. He can sing. He really understands how to use melodies. But I always thought he was overrated. I never understood the reason behind why he got super famous till this point, being one of the most famous rappers in the game right now. Like, you listen to his music, there's like sort of a cheapness to it, a lot of computer generated sounds throughout his beats, and even in his vocals he uses a lot of autotune, so everything about his music is very unnatural. I just never understood why he was getting so much like fame and hype over the years when he's clearly not the best rapper at the same time. So it's something that I never really understood as a younger rap listener. I guess I get it a little bit now, but like not because of the album, but just paying attention to his most recent music and sort of going backwards with his discography. I sort of get it on a business perspective why he's blown up so crazily over the last like 10 years. He's one of those few rappers that are like super big, but I never really got into his music at all, and most of the songs that I would hear are basically music video songs or features. He's notorious for releasing singles, just like Lil Wayne. He was the type of rapper to feature on a lot of other rappers' songs, a big time mixtape guy that would just make so many different songs. Like, he's one of those rappers that's super prolific when it comes to the amount of songs that he'll make every year. He still is that type of rapper nowadays, but that's the only way I would listen to his music. I wasn't the type of music listener that's like waiting for a Lil Uzi Vert album. This is like legit the first time I'm actually going through a Lil Uzi Vert album and like paying attention to every song that I'm listening to. So just like I was saying earlier, I always looked at Lil Uzi Vert as an artist that really knows how to make music. He has music making skills and he really understands melodies. He knows how to sing and he knows how to bar up when he really needs to like put his pen down and really bar up. He definitely has a great music mind. But the thing with this album here, it's almost like he doesn't really take his music making skills serious with this one. He sort of puts that aside and he focuses more on like the visuals, all the things outside of the music itself. That's the kind of vibe that I'm picking up from most of the songs on this album. It sounds like he's relying too heavily on the auto-tune and the production's not that good on the album. For me, the production's 50-50. Half the songs have good beats and the other half are just beats with styles that are like super played out, styles of beats that you've heard so many times from other rappers that sort of copy off of Lil Uzi Vert, and it's like 50-50. The other half of the album, the beats are actually pretty good, but like he doesn't take advantage of that throughout the album. It just sounds like he relies too heavily on the auto-tune and all of the background sounds and effects that make up the production. He just relies too heavily on that. It ends up making the album sound mid altogether. That's the main vibe that I'm picking up from this one. A lot of the things that he's really good at and what he's shown that he's good at in the past, it's like he doesn't use the same techniques on this album. It's almost like he knows whatever he puts out is gonna sell no matter what, so he doesn't try as much on this project compared to like older songs. A lot of the techniques he'll use on older songs, those same techniques, there's hints of them on this album, but he doesn't use them at the same like level as he's used them in the past. His use with auto-tune, his singing, nothing different from like what you've heard from him before to make the album better than what it could be. And the production's not that good on this too. There's a lot of poor beats on here. I feel like if he works with the right producers, he can make some really good music. Like, he should make a whole album with guys like Metro Boomin, Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, Hit Boy, The Alchemist even. If he were to work with producers like that, he can make like a real classic one of these these days, but like he always works with producers that just give him okay beats, just beats that you've heard before from other rappers, like a similar style, similar drum pattern, similar bass line, over exaggerated effects all over, even like the auto-tune, turning his vocals into like a computer voice in a sense. Like the auto-tune makes the vocals sound so unnatural, so then when he relies heavily on the production and on the effects throughout the production, even though the production's not that good, it makes the album sound very mid, man, and not as good as I thought it was gonna be. It's actually a pretty smart technique to use your voice as if it's an instrument, which is what Lil Uzi Vert does. I mean, most of the time when it comes to his music, even outside of this album, but throughout this album, he uses his vocals like it's an instrument very heavily, not really too concerned about what he's actually saying or the meaning of each song, but more so paying attention to like using his voice as like an instrument to make the beat sound even better than what it does sound like. The beats are pretty mid throughout the album. 16 tracks on here, there's like 3, maybe 4 beats out of the 16 that I actually enjoy listening to. Outside of that, the beats are pretty bad on this one, and it sounds like he's trying to use his vocal as an instrument to sort of like save the beats in a sense, and try to like uplift them, make them sound even better. But then he doesn't pay as much attention to like what he's actually saying through his bars. There's some hints of great lyricism throughout the album. There's some tracks on here where you're listening to Lil Uzi Vert rap, and some of the bars that he's come up with, you're like almost shocked that Lil Uzi Vert came up with it. There's like a handful of lines like that. Lil Uzi Vert can rap, man. He really knows how to rap. He understands how to like put together strong lines when he really tries to, you know what I mean? He can come up with some pretty good metaphors and similes. Even like songs like Lift 'Em Up, Chips and Dip, Perky Sex, the wordplay with the name of the song, turning it into a metaphor for like another thing, like just little things like that. Like Lil Uzi Vert is on point when it comes to how his mind works, coming up with different lines, the meaning behind the line. He knows how to write metaphors and similes. He really understands the art form of rap. When he really tries, he can really bar up if he really wants to, but it's a small percentage of the album where he's showing that. And it's like most of the songs you're getting off the album is him singing with the auto-tune in a very popish way, coming up with catchy lines to say with the auto-tune and the singing, and that's like half if not most of the album. And the other portion of the album, he's like doing his best to bar up, but it's not enough to save the poor production throughout the album, to save the album as a whole. I think if he put more rapping on the album, songs like Space High, you know what I mean, like a song like that, if he were to rap more on the album with that rapping style like Space High, I would have liked this album a lot more. But like he relies too heavily on the auto-tune and like the singing, and it just like makes the album altogether sound weaker at the end of the day, man. As like a rap listener, a rap fan listening to the album, hoping for more rap, it makes the album weaker. This album sounds more like a pop album. There's a lot more singing than I expected there to be. Overall, man, like I was saying earlier, I think Lil Uzi Vert could possibly make a classic album in the future, and I think the way he can do that is if he worked with the right producers, and not just any producer, not just people that he knows, and really sat down with them, try to put together something that nobody's ever heard from him. I think he can make like a classic album. On this one, I just think the production's not good. He doesn't have enough features to help him out on here. When he is barring up and actually dropping some decent lines, it's only a few moments of that, and half the album he's rapping, the other half is like all singing, so it's just like sounds more like a pop album than a rap album. I think he just relies too heavily on all the things outside of the beats and the raps of the album. It makes the album sound just okay for me. In terms of a rating, I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10, just because there are some hints of good music going on throughout the album where he's actually barring up. He's coming up with some metaphors and similes that you're not gonna hear from anyone else in terms of like style. There's hints of that all over the album, but for the most part, this sounds more like a pop album. He needs to work with better producers, I think. Everything is just mid about this album, man. Like, I don't know. As like a rap fan, it's gonna sound mid. And to like a fan that's more into like futuristic sounding like cloud rap, trap style rapping, they're probably gonna eat this album up and like and love it and all of that. But for me, as a rap fan, and based off of the rap that we've been getting so far this year, some high quality albums, man, this album is just okay for me. So 7 out of 10. Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal Atake 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. The new song Waldo set for December 4th. Make sure you guys check that song out once I drop it. 12 o'clock right on the dot. The cover art for it, that's dropping soon. New album dropping for next year. Check out #INDICA, the latest mixtape I dropped, available everywhere. Stay tuned for more music, more content for the future. Subscribe to the channel, of course. Like the video. That's all I gotta say for this one. I'm out. Peace.